My guest today is actress, writer, singer, songwriter Laura Alt, and she is becoming a top rising star in her own right. Building on the success of her recent comedy project, About My Father, alongside acting legend and 8-time Academy Award nominee Robert De Niro. And Laura had her first leading role in the thriller Malicious Mind Games, which is currently available on Lifetime Movie Club. And she will next be seen in a reoccurring role on the new Apple TV Plus series Bad Monkey alongside Vince Vaughn. Now, amid auditioning for Broadway and earning her bachelor's degree, Laura achieved another noteworthy feat: writing, producing, and recording 2 albums. And these albums have not only been licensed for film and TV, but have also opened doors for her to write specifically for acclaimed shows like All My Children and General Hospital. And no stranger to the creative realm, Laura's dynamic artistic pursuits extend beyond acting. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome multi-talented actress and more, Laura Alt, to the show. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you. You make me sound really important.
You are important. I mean, my
Like
my
I've done
good.
stuff or something. I'm like,
Well,
did I do all that? Was that me?
that is, I went and looked at your resume, and it is actually quite long. And there were things in there that really surprised me because I do know that some actors and writers actually get their start in soap operas, and you've done some work there as well.
Yeah, my work in the soap operas is majority of songwriting. So I haven't acted in a soap opera yet. Open to it, but yeah, mostly just the music aspect.
Well, what type of music is actually in a soap opera? Is it more instrumentals?
It varies. Like they've had me write just instrumental stuff. Sometimes we're like, we want a love song with these specific lyrics, something like a rare love, or we want this kind of beat with something about being lost. So you just kind of take that and put it together and say, here you go. And some reason they liked it. So
That reminds me back in the day when you would have major movie studios actually have a group of people that would be in a room, and then either the producer or the director would run in and say, "Hey, we need a song for such and such movie, and we need it by 10 a.m. the next morning." And then those songwriters would write all night. Was it something like that?
it's more like, hey, can we have this in a couple of days? I don't mind the pressure because I mean, I'll stay up all night writing if I had to for the right project. But that sounds like a dream job, actually, just sitting around waiting for like a challenge like that. You have 12 hours, write this song, and it has to win an Oscar. Okay. Like, why not?
Wow. To me, I think the songwriting part would be out of any talent, and to be pressured like that, to me, that would be the toughest thing that I could
Yeah,
think of.
there's a lot of components because you have to have decent lyrics, that aren't like cliche or, contrite. So original melodies, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of components for sure. So yeah, but you just got to do what you got to do. I mean, if that's what you're good at, that's what you do.
That's it. Well, what led you into the world of entertainment?
Um, I, I feel like I was just kind of born into it. I think being a middle child and that desire for your parents' attention might have had something to do with that. I don't know. I'm going to ask my therapist later, but I'm pretty sure it has to do with that. And actually, my parents grew up, they were singing in the church. My dad was in a band, he played the bass. My brother's also a talented musician. My sister played the violin. So, like, we all have musical inclinations. I'm just the crazy one that was like, I think I'm going to try to do this for a living. And they're like, great idea. And I was like, well, we'll find out. So, it's working
Well,
out,
well, I
luckily.
understand that you have a love for theater, especially musical theater. I mean, to me, theater actors make the best film actors. Why is that?
That's a good question. Maybe just so much technical training, so much learning. You have so much time with a character, with the script, rehearsing, really getting deep down into who they are and their backstory. I mean, if you can do that and translate that into film, then you're going to have a great performance.
Well, are you at the point in your career yet where, let's say, a casting agent goes, "Oh, Let's see if we can't get Laura Alt, or are you still having to do auditions?
I'm still auditioning. I do have some people that I wouldn't say casting directors, but directors have reached out to me or producers that have worked with me before or heard about me. So some of that non-auditioning has happened, but I still have to, yeah. I'm still in the trenches.
Well, professionally, was it the theater stage is where you appeared first, or did you just start getting into the world of entertainment by being a writer?
I started with theater. So, like in middle school, high school, I was doing all the theater shows that way. Got into college, still doing the music. I moved to New York. I was like, I'm going to do Broadway. And then that was really hard. So, while I was waiting to break into Broadway, I ended up meeting people that were musicians and they're like, hey, why don't you jam with us and write music? And I was like, sure. I mean, it was just really kind of I mean, I had taken piano lessons growing up, so it's not like I had never, known anything about music. But once I started songwriting, I was like, this is a whole new way to express myself. I mean, if I can do that on stage, that's just a whole new level of artistry and creativity. It was really
Well, what
amazing.
musical genre are your two albums based on?
They're pretty eclectic, actually. I mean, they ran the gamut from very pop, like Taylor Swifty, to country, to Latin infused. Just kind of whatever the mood I was feeling and whatever the jam was that day. I just wasn't sticking to one particular vibe.
Your career is really interesting, more so than most of the ones that I interview because you are extremely multi-talented. So, if there's not an acting gig at the moment, you could be a writer, you could be a songwriter, you can be a
That's right.
comedian, and
I'm working on all of those things because who needs sleep? Oh, and I also have two children. So let's just throw that into the mix. So,
wow, wow. So we have to add mother to your resume, and that's
but
probably the biggest job of all.
single mother, just add that in there just for fun because why not? I like challenges. I was like, you know what? Doing it with someone else, too easy. Let's do this on my own.
Now, is your YouTube channel all based on comedy only?
Right now, yeah, that was my pandemic project. If you look through that, you'll see it was all 2020 and then it just kind of disappeared because I started working again. I do post some funny little TikToks and stuff here and there, but I am so busy with the acting and the writing right now that I haven't had as much time to do that. But yes, if you go out there and watch it, there's a lot of, it's all zany, silly, my sense of humor kind of comedy.
Well, how big of a transition was it for you to go from theater acting to acting in TV and film?
It's a big transition. I mean, theater acting is much bigger, much grander. You're trying to project to the people in the back of the auditorium, and then you have a camera in your face, and you can just think a thought, and they can see it in your eyes. So to learn to just like chill the face out, like you don't have to do the feelings, and you can just feel it. And it's going to pick up everything. So it took a little bit of training and watching myself back a lot and people saying, oh, you have this tick, you have that, like you bite your lip too much or you shift your eyes. Like you learn so much about yourself when you start doing acting for film and TV.
Yeah, and
But I
with
absolutely love it.
yeah, because with theater, I mean, once you're on stage, you're doing it from beginning to end, and then with TV and film, somebody's either yelling action or cut, or let's do that
Yeah, and
again.
it's much more distracting because things are changing. We didn't really rehearse it. That person said that line really different than we thought, so now I have to react to their delivery. And then it's like, cut, okay, let's do it this way. And then all of a sudden, like we do it 5 times and now it's your close up. And I'm like, well, I don't even know like which one are we going with? It's kind of wild. It is like the Wild West of acting.
Well, you appeared in the film About My Father with Robert De Niro, and also with Sebastian Maniscalco. Did you
Mm-hmm.
learn anything from either one of them?
Uh, I learned I'd like to have their jobs. I learned I learned that they are, they're out there just like the rest of us, doing their thing. They were both very kind. I have nothing to say other than like complete professionals. I wish I could have spent more time with them, but we finished the scene, met them. Hey, nice to meet you. Great job. No, you're great job. All that stuff. And then they had to get whisked off to the next scene. And it was like, huh, what just happened? Um, but I wouldn't say I had enough time to like really like give me your insight, De Niro. Like, tell me the secret to your acting. Like, how do I become you? I didn't have that moment,
But it
unfortunately.
looks great on your resume.
Oh, it looks so good on my resume.
Well, what was it like getting the lead role for Malicious Mind Games?
Surprising. It's always really surprising to me. I'm like, okay, but me, like you had all the other people, and somehow this is the one you got. And it's a really good feeling. I mean, it's very validating from years and years of working and auditioning and not hearing anything. Because you audition, you send your tapes in, no one gives you any feedback. You just don't book the role. Um, Even when you get the role, you get a lot of feedback. They're like, "Cool, we liked you. Just do that." And you're like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'll just." It's there's not a whole lot of like major coaching going on. Um,
Well, what is the major difference? Because so many people now, I mean, I've done them. You do the self tapes.
mhm.
Uh, from auditioning in person versus the self tape, which one would you rather do?
Self tape, hands down.
Really?
Oh yeah. I'll tell you
Wow.
why.
Yeah.
For several reasons. One is you have to memorize everything. You have to have it totally prepared. You show up, you walk into a room. There's a bunch of people pacing around that look like you. They're all like muttering the lines under their breath, and you're like, "No, like don't do that. I don't want to hear what you're doing." And so you're trying to stay focused, but then you see also your friends that are there because you see the same people over and over again. So you want to chat. Then they call you in, and it's like action. You get one take, maybe they'll say, "Oh, maybe try it like this instead." One more take, and they're like, "Okay, thanks, bye." And then you leave, and you're like, "I have no idea what I just did." But when you do a self tape, you get to watch it back and check yourself. You can hire a coach who gives you all the feedback, stuff that you hadn't thought about. Oh, of course, I never would have thought to deliver it like that. And you watch it back, watch it back, watch it back, pick the perfect take or the most perfect take, send it in, and you're like, at least I know what I did, and I'm confident in my work, and I know what they're going to see. And I like that.
That makes a lot of sense because at least with technology, we can
Oh,
delete, record,
so
and
much
finally
delete.
go, yeah, because I think for an actor doing the self tape, like you said, when you know you sent your work in and you're happy with the work you sent in, at least if they say yes, you're like, yeah, I nailed it. And if they say no, at least know in your heart that you did deliver.
I did deliver the best I could, and I'm satisfied because I know I'm not going to book every role. I know that. You're not going to book half your roles, but to feel satisfied, like I'm happy that they get to see that. Like that was me acting. That was my performance. That was my interpretation. There you go. I mean, that's the majority of our job. So you kind of have to think of them as little mini performances for a very small audience. And it changes your outlook when you think of it like that.
I guess now with the self tapes, you really don't have to have a thick skin because if you're doing in person auditions, just some people just get rejected on the spot. No, that's not what we're looking for or whatever. And then with self tapes, at least, like you said, you send it in, you feel that you did your best. And if they don't like it, hey, you move on.
Yeah.
And no, nobody was negative towards you.
Yeah, I don't ever feel like anyone was ever like, no, that was terrible. Get out of here. But you do get vibes from the room, or they're just not maybe super nice about how they deliver adjustments, and then you leave feeling like I don't think they like me at all, and that's a horrible feeling. And sometimes the jobs I felt like I was like they don't like me at all. I end up booking, and I'm like, okay, I have no idea what anyone's thinking anymore. Just do it and leave and just forget about it because you have no idea.
Yeah, it's almost like going on an American Idol audition, and they're gonna tell you if you suck or not.
Yeah, I almost would kind of prefer that just to get that feedback to be like, that was bad. I'm like, well,
Well,
oh, okay, cool.
so
Any
then you can
feedback
go
on how
back
to make them?
and yeah, and so then that way you could go back to find out what they didn't like and see if you can't do better next time.
I guess, but again, that's also just the one person's opinion. So like that's just one casting director's opinion that day of, it's who knows.
Well, for you, was it a self tape in which you got the part for Bad Monkey?
Yes. hmm I actually auditioned for a couple of roles on that show. Um, and I ended up booking the second one. So when I didn't get the, no, I think I did three roles actually. So it's interesting. The one, I was like, two went down, nothing. I was like, oh man, the season's like gonna end soon. Like, please, like, I really want to get on this show. And then finally another audition came in, and that's the one I booked. So I was like, "Ah, I made it, thank God."
Well, did they just do one callback?
No, there's no callback. Sometimes there's no, it's crazy. Sometimes the biggest shows have no callbacks, and then I'll do a commercial where all I have to do is go, hi, and they call you back. But can you wave like this? Or can you just like not wave and smile? I'm like, why are you calling me back for that when I get on TV shows for like one audition? It's wild.
That is crazy. Now, what
I
is bad?
know.
That that blows me away. You know, and I've heard stories where certain casting directors, it's just like they just hammer on the callback situation over a role that it's like whatever.
Really? Yeah, just read the resumes. Like, look at our pictures. Like, my actor friends talk about this a lot. We're like, we're not really sure why we're getting called back to do that.
Well, to
To
me, the
just,
resume is everything, especially if you've built a resume as great as yours. I mean, to me,
I
I'm
would say
like,
the real is probably more important because anyone can put anything on a resume, but
yeah.
unless you have the actual footage to prove it, it's like Pixar, it didn't happen, the whole thing. So, um, real or it didn't happen.
Yeah, didn't you see me standing behind Harrison Ford in that one scene
Yeah,
that
I was
nobody
in that
saw?
movie. Yeah, it's like weren't you were an extra? Because I've seen people's resumes where like you were in this, 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 and this, and like I was an extra. I'm like, oh well, okay, not supposed to put that on your resume, but I understand. I understand. It's
Well,
hard.
what's the big difference between an extra and a background actor?
That's the same thing.
One's just a fancier term,
Which one do you think is fancier?
background actor,
Because it's got more
actor
syllables.
in it. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. Extra
I'm
is
a
just
background
like,
actor. Yes.
well, extra
The
is
acting for
like
backgrounds.
yeah,
Like we don't
being an
need
extra is
you,
almost
but
like you jumped over the fence and then
yeah,
you
you're
jumped into the scene and nobody knew you were there.
Yeah, you're just extra in the back. Yeah, as opposed to background acting, you're back there with your craft,
Well, what's
miming your words like nobody else. If you watch, sometimes background actors are really funny to watch. They can steal a scene. I've seen some TV shows where I'm like, this lady over here is going for it. Like she's at a funeral and she's just like, I'm like, I can't not look at you because the main
well,
character was like right next to her.
well for you though? Let's say you're watching a movie. Are you
Okay.
watching the movie for enjoyment? Are you watching it and you're looking at the acting, you're looking at the background people, you're trying to figure out why did they do that? I mean,
Mm,
which way?
Sometimes I'm able to just relax and just enjoy a movie, but a lot of the time I notice so many things like editing and lighting and the extras and there yeah and acting. But I need to watch the acting because especially like people I aspire to be, I'm like, okay, how do they deliver that? How was their face? What was their angle? How did they do this? How did they do that? Like that's my job to study to be better. So yeah, and once you've been on set enough times, you can't not think about like, oh, I wonder where the boom mic is, and like if he's back there like struggling with it, and what's going on? What's going on back there?
Yeah, I've read film reviews where you would get a critic and he goes, "I saw the boom mic."
Oh no,
And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And then you end up watching the film and you're looking for the boom mic. That's what sucks.
that's not fair. Like I saw a shadow of a microphone. This movie is out. It's like, Okay.
Oh yeah,
It's
I've
not
seen them
easy
where.
making a movie, people.
Well, yeah, I've seen them where they pick it apart to where they say, "Oh, I saw the crew in the rearview mirror," and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" You know,
Yeah,
I
I mean, but those are technicality. I mean, it shouldn't be. I mean, I get it, but I don't know if I would. I mean, are we criticizing the technical, like the tech crew? I guess that's the director is supposed to catch that. I'm not sure whose job that is to make sure all the mirrors are clean, but someone's job is to check the mirrors.
yeah, that is funny. Well, tell me what's Bad Monkey about?
It's based on the novel by Carl, I hope I'm saying it right, Hyson. Um, it's about a detective, which is played by Vince Vaughn, who gets demoted to food inspector in Key West. So you can imagine he's not necessarily happy with his job. And he lives in the Keys. He's on the island. He has this beautiful sunset, and his neighbor's building this giant house that's like blocking his view. So he's upset about that. I mean, that's minor, like side details. Long story short, there's a murder, and he can't help but it kind of involves him, and then he can't help but get involved because he's a detective, and that's what he does. He doesn't want to look for roaches underneath, the fryer at the
Well,
shrimp
how
house.
many episodes is Bad Monkey going to be?
Ooh, I feel like I should know this. I think it's 8 or 10. 8 or 10. It's on IMDb.
So it's
I could
basically
look.
going to be a pilot series to see if it takes off and hopefully get re-signed for season two.
Yeah, hopefully. And I had spoken to the writer when I was on set, and he said that since there are other books in the series, that he would probably that the main character would just move on through those stories. So fingers crossed, for sure.
So what's it like working with Vince Vaughn?
I actually never had a scene with Vince Vaughn. Um, I had I had other scenes with other people, but I did get to meet a majority of the cast. Everyone's wonderful. I mean, we're shooting in the Keys. You're staying in this beautiful place when you're not working. It's hard to not be having a good time. Everyone's there doing their dream job, basically.
Wow. So Bad Monkey is still in the filming stage?
That's a good question because we filmed that. I mean, it'll be 2 years in July since I filmed. I know they did a lot of reshoots because they recast one of the main characters about halfway through. So then they had to reshoot all that. So I don't know. They don't answer my phone calls. I'm calling all the time, but I'm like, Vince, what's going on? But
You
I don't
know,
know.
that's very interesting because a lot of the new streaming series that are coming out, like Bad Monkey, a lot of the films, they've all been shot 2 years ago. And I know due to the pandemic, due to the multiple strikes, now all of these
Hmm.
streaming series as well as feature films are finally making their debuts. For you, though, here you are, you're talking about Bad Monkey. People feel that, you probably just finished filming it, let's say 3 months ago, and you're doing press for it. What have you been doing in the meantime?
Trying to get on other shows that will hopefully come out maybe before Bad Monkey. I don't know at this point.
You ought to do a comedy stand up special.
You think so?
Yes, you're
Thank
that
you.
good.
But I'm sitting down. Sorry, that was a really bad. Do you still think I should do comedy?
That's almost as bad as a dad joke.
Well, I am a mom, so we do have mom jokes as well. Dads don't have, all of that to
Well, there's
themselves.
always the stool and the microphone on the comedy stage, so that would work.
You're right. I can sit. I could perch. Actually, I've really been wanting to do stand up, and I've been writing out my set, I guess you could say. I'm trying to figure out what that is. But I'm gonna need to take a class because I don't really actually know how to put it in order, how to format it, what the technicality is. Or maybe I should just get up there and just start talking. I don't know.
Well,
I'm still
there's so many different types of comedy. There's those that do storytelling. Then there's
right.
those that do the one-liner jokes. Then you get the ones that basically pick somebody out of the crowd and
Mm,
just really just
and just
riff on them
works
for the next.
that. Yeah, I can see myself riffing a little bit because I'm good at the conversational thing. But I think more of my style would be personal stories where I've humiliated myself or bad dates I've been on, uh, funny stories with the kids. I mean, there's
Yeah,
plenty to go.
see, this is a perfect genre for you because sitting here talking with you, the whole time I'm thinking, she's got to be doing stand up.
Thank you so much for saying that. Because today I was like, I really got to do that stand-up class. I really got to do it. And then here you are saying that to me today.
You're
So,
you're already you're already halfway there. I mean, you ought to get
yeah,
just do open mic night and see what happens.
I might suck terribly, and that's okay. I'll just go grab
Yeah,
a drink
but
at the bar
but but here
afterwards and laugh it off.
but here's the great thing. They would have to introduce you as actress Laura Alt alongside Robert De Niro and Vince Vaughn. I mean, you already have all of the adjectives to go before you walk up on a comedy stage, so they could almost put you at top billing.
I don't want to start there. Please don't make me do that. Why
Just
would?
be the 20-minute opening act.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to get on and off in like 5 minutes and just like dip my toe in the water, see how bad it is. No,
Well,
I'm gonna do it. That's fine.
that's what TikTok and Instagram is about. You just shoot the reels.
Yeah, but that's also like I'm not gonna say not as brave, but there's definitely some. I mean, to get up in front of a live audience where people can heckle you or just not laugh at all, which to me would be the worst. Just to hear crickets. If I heard crickets, I'd be dead. Just I would die inside. Um, but there's no crickets in Miami, so I think I'd be okay.
That would work. I don't think you would hear crickets because I'm sitting here thinking the whole time, she's funny. You can be instantly. I was really shocked when I found out that you were in this thriller, Malicious Mind Games,
Oh,
because it was totally like Gone Girl kind of freaky vibe. I'm
oh, it
like,
is. It is. That's why I'm always like, you want me to play the serious role? Like, where's all the comedy role? Like, can I just want to do the comedy. And my director was like, yeah, but you have those crazy eyes. You had the crazy. I was like, I have crazy eyes? Thank you. Aw.
well, you could all, with in the movie Gone Girl, you could have almost played her double.
Oh, wow. I'll take that as a compliment.
You
She's
know,
amazing. Nick Rosalind
could have been the evil twin sister.
could have. I mean, but she was pretty evil, so it'd be hard to top that. But I would try. I got crazy eyes. I could do it. I could do it.
I mean, what was it? I mean, I mean, I can see how talented you are when it comes to comedy, but to do a thriller like that, I mean, what was the mindset?
The mindset was this is a challenge. This is something I get to play twins, so that's cool. I've always wanted to do that. Um, I always wanted to play the villain. So there were definitely like things I get to check off. And I mean it is a movie. I mean it's a chance to have a leading role in a movie, push myself to the limits in an area that I don't normally push myself and see how it goes. And I was pleasantly surprised when I finally watched it back like a year after it came out, like this. I was like, I'm not I'm not terrible. Like I didn't hate that. I didn't hate that.
What is it hard for you to watch yourself back in any role?
It's getting easier now. And I think because I do have to watch myself back on self-tape so much, it's like when people say I don't like my voice, I don't know how you can do it. I'm like, you just get used to it. Like you just accept what you have, what you sound like, and you need to embrace it because that's what you got. And put it out there.
Wow. That
Wow.
But yeah, because when I was looking when I watched the trailer for Malicious Mind Games, I'm like, wow, because I'm thinking, because you think about being in the about my father. It's
Mm-hmm.
more you see the comedy between Robert and Sebastian, and it's almost like a meet the parents kind of thing,
Oh, for sure.
or the Fockers or
Yeah.
whatever it was. And but I see you just have comedy written all over you.
Yeah, I can't. I just have a funny looking face.
I think it's a little bit more than that, because you're very quick witted, which works great in comedy. Because I've seen some
It
of these
helps.
comedians that are so fast on their feet. I'm like, how do they come up with that stuff so fast?
I have always been that way since a child. Like people are like, how do you? I'm like, I don't even know. Like stuff comes out of my mouth before I think, which can be a problem a lot of times in life. So I have to learn when not to, like when to zip it and when it's like free to do that. So when you're on set around other actors, you can just usually let it fly and everyone appreciates it.
Well,
Um,
were you the kid in the family that ended up with the last word, or you were just very quick in a reaction, or not? I don't want to say back talking, but maybe that can be for the kid. Was that you?
Definitely the sarcastic um, commentary of what I see going on around the house. A little snarky, maybe. We should ask my mom. Now I'm
Were you a class
curious.
clown?
No, I was such a good girl. When the teacher wasn't around, yes, like I was the one goofing off, but when the teacher was there, I was I was a good student,
Well,
I think. Yeah, I feel like I was.
I'm seeing your name up in lights, Laura Alt, comedy special,
Oh,
maybe
I
on
like it.
Netflix or Hulu or something.
I'll take it.
I
You can be
think
the one
that
that watches it.
works. Yeah, I
What was that?
mean, I think that's in your future.
Thank you. I think so too. I just have to do something about it.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure to interview certain comedians, and they end up on like when you go on Instagram and everybody's watching the dry bar stand up.
Hmm.
Um, that alone has been shocking on how many careers dry bar has launched just because of Instagram.
That's true. I mean, you get little snippet. I mean, I watch my reels and I see a lot of comedians that I hadn't seen before, and you just get that one or two couple jokes, and you're like, that person's really freaking funny. And then you follow them, and then of course it just keeps moving on and building for them. So yeah, it's true. You just kind of got to start, put it out there, and hopefully it just snowballs.
Yeah, I say start writing the jokes, start writing the stories, and
They're
get
written.
it.
They're on my phone. I add something to it almost every day.
That's awesome. That I think you have a hidden calling that is calling you out.
Yeah, you're calling me out on it.
I'm calling you out on it because I
You're
can
the
see it.
one.
Yeah, and see, we don't have enough female comedians out there.
Yeah, there could definitely there is a yeah, there's definitely a
Yeah,
inconsistency. There's definitely more men for sure. But there's
yeah,
becoming more women. They're starting to come up.
yeah. But you've got the look, you've got the name,
I have the
and
name.
I can already tell that you're funny. So I mean, for 2024, you working on anything new?
I am actually I just finished writing my first feature-length romantic comedy. So there's a ton of my own personal comedy in that. Um, so we're just starting to shop that around. I'm really excited about it. Um, I've also written a musical comedy short, which I incorporated music from my albums into it and comedy as well. And I'm just trying to figure out what to do with all this stuff. There's so much going on.
See, I love short films. Love them.
Because you don't have to invest so much.
No, no, because to me, when I'm watching a short film, you have to get to the point.
Yeah, real quick.
And I don't like short films that when they end, it just ends. The whole point of a short film is to
Tell the
surprise
story.
the
Yeah.
audience. Maybe there's a twist, um,
Hmm.
or maybe it's maybe it's a tearjerker.
It should leave you feeling something for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even if I've seen films where the short films where at the end you're just like, oh, that made me feel so good. We've been kind of laughing this season because so many of them have been so dark. There hasn't been enough warm and fuzzies around.
I'm here. I'm here for the warm and fuzziness. There's enough darkness out there. I mean, I get it. Why I could definitely write some dark stuff as well, but why would I want to when there's so much joy and laughter that you can bring to other people? Even if it is through my suffering, like enjoy it. Like find some joy from my pain. Please. Please.
Well, yeah, because see, for at the 2023 Oscars, the short film that won was Warm and Fuzzy, and it was humorous, and it deserved to win. And this year, they're all on the dark side.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of years. They were probably all written during the pandemic.
They actually were. They actually were. And I understand that people want to, want to make this great cinematic drama, but my
They love
goodness,
making dramas. They love making dramas. You're so serious. You're serious actors, serious story to tell. I get it. But for me, I'd rather be laughing, honestly.
I would rather be laughing, which is why last year I was so happy that the humorous, heartfelt one won, and then this
And that's
year
rare. It's rare because
it
usually
was
they get
very.
written off with, you know,
Oh
like, oh,
yeah,
that's sweet. That's cute. We want
yeah.
something that
I'm
rips our
trying to
heart out,
remember.
Chase.
Well, yeah, because I know that out of the five from last year, only one, well, was funny and heartfelt. The other ones, they were extremely serious,
Yeah.
And this year it's I'll just say dramatic, and some of them are dark. Let's just say they're not super. They don't really put a super smile on your face at all, so they're different. But yeah, you found your genre, so I would
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm gonna dig into that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna dig
I'm
in.
really interested in your short film. We
It's
need a
there.
musical
I need a couple of rewrites and then figure out how I'm gonna make that thing.
I don't I don't know if anybody's ever done a musical comedy before. That's
I've
cool.
seen some musical short, but not to the degree that I want to take it. Um, I just kind of feel like if you're going to do something, go big. But that's also going to be an issue for making a short film. That's going to make the budget that much bigger because I want the whole city to be dancing in the background, kind of like a La La Land situation, because that adds to the comedy of it. Um, so that's where it's a little tricky. I think maybe that's why people stay away from it because you need a choreographer, then you need to get the music synced up. There's just so much more, I think, detail that has to go into it.
Yeah, but all things are possible. I've seen short
Absolutely.
films that have been award winning for like 50 grand. And then I've seen some that they were good, but they were still at $1 million, which is really kind of dumb for a short film.
Yeah, what do you need $1 million for?
Yeah, to film 20 minutes
Hmm.
over 5 days.
Hmm. Where'd the money go?
Well, I've lost count how many film directors I've talked to, but everybody knows that, there's not a return on investment on short films, but
Yeah.
short films end up being, sometimes it's the short film that will ignite a career
Yeah,
like
not a
no other.
financial, yeah, not a financial return, but a career return. That makes sense. Yeah.
Career setting. So I think for you, yeah, you're the brand new hot comedian on the circuit, and I can see it.
Right.
Laura Alt
Happening.
comedy television special coming to
Mm,
Netflix or Hulu or HBO or
yes.
whatever.
Pre- yes. Amen.
I amen to that one.
From your lips. You hear this? You hear this? Okay.
Well,
Now it shall be so.
That's exactly right. You got to pull that church girl out and go, "It's
You do.
done."
It's done. That's me. I'm like, it is done. It's already happened. Now I just got to show up and do it.
That's it. Yeah, just
Take the
call those
pressure
things
off.
as though they are not, as though they
Takes the
were.
pressure. Exactly. See you.
That's it. We'll just sign Romans 4:17 right there at the bottom, so it's
Yep.
done.
It's
And
done.
Laura, I've had a blast with you,
Me
and I'm
too.
so glad you came on the show today.
Thanks for having me. You're not so
Yeah.
bad yourself.
Well, thank you. Now, when is Bad Monkey debuting? Do you know? Is there a release date?
There is not. Uh, it is as much a mystery as the story itself. So, wish I could give you that date. Just got to stay
And
tuned.
yes, and then Malicious Mind Games is actually airing now on Lifetime Movie Club.
Yes, and you can rent it on Amazon. There's like many different places you could stream that or rent it. So
And also about my father it has and that came out last year, correct?
it came out in May, I
May of
believe. Yes.
2023.
So yeah, it's out. It's you can stream that now.
All
It's an
right.
absolutely
Well,
horrible. I love it. People should watch it for sure.
yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, check out About My Father with Laura Alt and Robert De Niro. See, I just gave you top billing above Robert De Niro.
You're going to be hearing from his people. That may not have been a good idea.
No, that would actually be great. That way he
Like
can
it's
come
all
on
part
and
of
then
my plan.
yeah, that's part of my evil plan. And and then, ladies and gentlemen, you can also check out Malicious Mind Games, the thriller, where Laura Alt is the lead actress, and it's a creepy one. And you will, and if
Guilty.
yeah, so if you love thrillers, that's the film you want to watch. And again,
Thrilling.
Laura, I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time. I
Well,
appreciate it.
thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, you can catch all the replays of our interviews with the top film directors, producers, screenwriters, and actors and actresses just like Laura Alt, and more on our website at bondoncinema.com. And we are also available on YouTube and a dozen audio platforms as well. So I want to thank you for watching and listening. As for me, I'll either see you at the movies or from the red carpet.